Welcome to the Business Focus podcast. Before we start, can we ask one thing? 74% of you that watch this channel frequently do not subscribe. If you've enjoyed our videos, please could you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button? It helps this channel more than you know, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the learning gets. Welcome to the Business Focus podcast. Jonathan Herps is the host of the Business Focus podcast. He is a strategic advisor, coach, and mentor to entrepreneurial business owners, CEOs, and senior executives. In this podcast, he chats with entrepreneurs, founders, and CEOs of scaling companies. It centers around their entrepreneurial journey so far and their aspirations for their companies.
Today I'm speaking with Jordan Oakley-Newell, who's founder of Traffic Offenders Rehabilitation Program. Welcome, John.
Thanks, Jonathan. Pleasure to be here.
Great to speak to you. And I have to say, you're in Israel today.
I'm in Israel, yes. The sun is out. I think there's 7 hours time difference from where you're at.
Yeah, look at you. I'm in Barrel. It's sort of almost negative degrees temperatures today. I think I prefer to be where you are. So thank you for joining me. So listen, just tell me a bit. I know you do more than just this as well. So why don't you just tell me what you do, then focus in on traffic offenders rehabilitation program. How long have you been doing it and the like?
Okay, cool. I recently, about 1 year ago, founded an entrepreneur space in Bali, Indonesia. So it's focused around basically vibrational entrepreneurs earning 100K plus in sales. So and remote entrepreneurs. So, if you rewind the clock, so I've been a remote entrepreneur for probably almost 10 years, a little bit over 10 years. And so that's like, I have freedom of location and I can, I work and I also travel as well. I really love traveling. So that was one of my great inspirations for wanting to, for diving into entrepreneurship and starting a business. And one of my early business for about 10 years was so I founded a traffic offenders rehabilitation program. So we basically help people who have become unstuck on the roads due to alcohol or drugs or other negative driving behaviors, and we help them become more aware and better road users for themselves and for the communities. So most of our clients are 17 to 24-year-old males. If you think of the typical person that's going to be drinking and driving or doing something silly on the roads, that's our client base.
Okay. And so tell me a little bit more about that. I mean, Australian based. How do you do it? You're remote. You obviously can't do the teaching up front, where I suppose you could coach. Tell me a bit more about how the business works.
Yeah, for sure. So we have presenters and we have speakers that deliver the modules, and we basically work with our referral networks to send clients our ways. Very typical how you would probably run your business, very much remotely, or many people now, due to COVID, have had the opportunity to basically restructure things a little bit. And I was, lucky earlier on to have that sort of intention when setting out the business to kind of get out of the way a little bit and let the business run itself, and just put the right people and structures in place. So basically, I don't know if you have been lucky or unlucky enough to lose your license, Jonathan.
I'm an Australian male.
Yeah, so usually there's about 1 or 2 degrees of 1 degree of separation between people that they've either been caught drinking and driving themselves, or speeding, or doing something silly, or they've either done it themselves, or maybe their best mate or someone that they know has been involved in there's poor driving behaviors. So it's not an accident. That's the way we look at it. It's negative, it's bad decision making. So we have a really unique opportunity to catch people in this time of their lives where they've made bad decisions, and we can help them see that was a bad decision so that they don't make any more bad decisions.
So who would you describe as your core customer? Is it the actual offender themselves? Is it their father, mother? I mean, who's your core customer? Your best customer?
Yeah, so our core customer is the person that gets, it's the best. Our best customer is the one that will take responsibility for their actions. The one that will really say, look, I've messed up here and I want to become a better road user. I see that this was a bad decision and I want to change that. So it's really people that are willing to learn, and they really want to transform and become better road users, not just for themselves, but for the community.
Okay. So switching tack a bit, and this is going to be an interesting one given that you're a remote on. We're coming out of the pandemic. What actions did you take during the pandemic in your business or businesses that have stayed part of the business going forward?
Yeah, so pre-pandemic, we were primarily with face-to-face sessions, face-to-face training, and due to the pandemic, we either had to transform or shut down. So we're a service-based business where we're meeting and working with our clients face-to-face. And due to the pandemic, we had to basically shift to an online training modules. And there had been some challenges around that because, one of our core tenets of the program is to really wake up people, like shock them and wake them up. So if we have someone that is, watching it in the comfort of their home, it might not have the same effect as, if they're in a room and someone is coming in a wheelchair and, we can say, this happened to me because I was drink driving, or I had done this bad driving behavior versus online. You can't tell. I might be in a wheelchair right now. You might be in a wheelchair right now. It doesn't really have that impact. But this is ongoing conversations that we have with regards to impact and accessibility.
Okay. So what does the future look like for the business, and what do you see as your main challenges going forward?
I think that our main challenges really is around the impact versus accessibility, and really delivering that program that is going to allow people to transform and to become better road users at the end of the day, at the end of the program. Yeah.
Okay. What about, how do you find your clients, or how do they find you?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we've been doing this for 10 years now. So we have our referral networks. So we work with the legal communities. We've built, we have our relations with the courts, with the magistrates, and the legal communities. So it's we build a lot on referrals, and we also do some advertising as well through ads and flyers, marketing, those kinds of things. Yeah.
So, but I want to jump in a bit further here, John. Given that you are remote, you live, as I understand it, predominantly in Bali at the moment. So I know the last week you've been in Mexico. I think Egypt and Israel. How do you have an on-the-ground sales team?
No, we don't have a sales team. We call it like customer service. So marketing and customer service. So we really rely a lot on our relationships and And yeah, very grateful to have people that believe in what we're doing and what we're about, and that they refer their clients to us, and we take care of them. So I think that has been the key factor of our success, or of our to basically care for people and make sure that they are getting the service that they sign up for.
Yeah, so the reason I wanted to explore that a bit more was just to show people that, you don't have to be, like I can and do this podcast from anywhere.
Yeah.
Running around with my portable key light, my Logitech Brio camera, which does the sound as well, and no one would know where I am, which is one of the great advantages of doing what I do and doing what you do. We can choose this freedom.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, sometimes you have to jump through some time zones and play a lot with the calendars. And I'm working with some guys in Hungary and Indonesia at the moment. So you've got Israel, Hungary, and Indonesia, 3 different time zones. You really got to figure that one out. But once you do, then once you kind of, I was inspired a lot by the 4-Hour Workweek.
That's Tim Ferriss.
Yeah, that one really opened up a lot of possibilities for me. And it was those same frameworks, I think, of like removing yourself from the machine of business that you, yeah.
Sure. So, talking about working remotely, school holidays.
Yeah.
We've got family friends from Penang here, and while I'm doing this, I've got 4 children.
Okay. Yeah, there's always a few extra hoops to jump through. That's for sure.
Exactly right. But it's an interesting story about Tim Ferriss, because Tim Ferriss has written the 4-Hour Workweek, the 4-Hour Shift, the 4-Hour Body, or something. I like there's the whole series, and he's done an extraordinary amount of stuff in 45 years in his life. But he was an absolutely critical part of me setting up this podcast. Because he tends to do long form podcasts, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they're very hard to find time to listen to them. And in July last year, I was on a beach in Fiji with my son, who just came in then, who's just turned 9, and Douglas was saying to me, "Come on, Dad, let's go on the water. Let's go on the water." And I'm trying to listen to a Tim Ferriss 2-hour podcast. While I was in the water, I had this epiphany: 30 minutes, 9 questions, entrepreneurs. Let's come up with some really actionable strategies for people who want to do what you're doing and want to do what I'm doing and want to do what my clients are doing, etc. And that came directly out of a Tim Ferriss podcast, as it turns out.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think with that book, he really provided a lot of people confidence, basically, to make that decision. And usually I feel like that's kind of the conversation that I have with a lot of entrepreneurs, is like, okay, like I have my time is very valuable, but I still want to do this thing, right? And, in the title of that book, the 4-Hour Workweek, it's like, you can provide a confidence to me, and at least that you can still do that thing, and you can do it in a strategic way where you have that time. You can have that time, freedom.
Yeah, no, I agree. So listen, changing tack again, what do you reckon has been your biggest learning since you've been a business owner?
That's a good one. I would say that I like the quote from Zig Ziglar. It's like, you can have anything in life you want if you just help other people get what they want. And then I heard Joe Polish say maybe a year ago, but you have to ask for it. And that resonated with me as well. So I subscribe to that, paying it forward and asking for what you want. Sometimes that's something that we forget to do.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make. And I'll offer something here that Jordan and I have the same coach. I'm a coach, a CEO coach, and but I always have one or two coaches of my own at any time. And Jordan and I have the same coach. And I've been running a mastermind group for Australian members of this coaching network for, I suppose, 18 months, Jordan. And I was very hesitant about reaching out to any of the members because I didn't want to impose. But yeah, about 3 weeks ago, I said to all the members of the Australian Mastermind, "Hey, would you like to be interviewed on my podcast?" And yeah, interesting enough, I've got about half a dozen of the guys and girls, all of whom are serious entrepreneurs like Jordan, being interviewed right in this part of, I think we're at episode 80 or something right now. In fact, I think your number episode 80, Jordan.
Okay.
But I reached out because I know the experience, this cohort that I'm being coached with, have extraordinary experience, and I wanted to try and capture some of that. So yeah, but well and truly back into what you were saying.
Yeah, I think that joining a mastermind or something like what you have created, definitely it just you don't feel alone basically, and you know that you're not the only one thinking these types of thoughts, and there's people that are ahead of you, and there are people that are or that have different skill sets in you. So yeah, super valuable to join one of those groups.
Highly recommend, because when you're the smartest person around, it's not a good place to be. All the time. So listen, when you think of the word successful, who's the first person who comes to mind, and tell me why?
Richard Branson, because he seems like he's having a lot of fun, and he's a family man. From what I haven't met him yet. I was looking at joining his island thing in last year, but now it looks like it's going to be next year. So yeah, he lives a unique and rare lifestyle, and he owns airplanes. Like, how cool is that?
I've sailed past Necker Island. It's a fabulous part of the world.
Oh yeah, you've been.
I haven't stopped there. I haven't sailed, and I sailed past Necker, and it's just it's in the British or US Virgin Islands. Can't remember which one. And it's a very special part of the world. And as you say, he's built an amazing life.
Was Richard Branson getting pulled along by a kite with a woman on the back? I met him.
I didn't see that, no. And look, he's a really interesting character. Picking up a concept that Jordan and I have been coached on. First who, not how, which, depending on who you believe, it comes from Jim Collins. Certainly being documented in a book by Jim Collins called Good to Great, some 20 years ago, and now more recently by our coach Dan Sullivan. But he's a cracker example of that. He comes up with these ideas and then finds the right person or the right team to make it happen. And that's why he's got this. He's built this muscle, I suppose, this ability to find and mobilize the right teams. And that's really the key in many ways. That and his vision is the key to his success, I think.
Yeah, 100%. And the communication tools are super valuable in that. I think that, if there's anything that I learned from Dan is the who, not how, the who being exponential and the how do I do this myself being linear. So to speed up the velocity of your growth, really utilizing the who's in your life or finding the who's. But really communicating. So being clear, having clarity of vision, and then communicating that to your teams. Do you feel like that I'm just curious that if you, with your vision, do you communicate like the necessary things for where people are at with your team? Or would you communicate, like paint the broad picture? Or do you feel like people might get a bit stuck, bogged down if they have the whole picture?
Look, I think it depends on. And look, I've made a decision, because I'm in about God knows how many careers I've had now, but been a CEO half a dozen times. I decided when someone asked you to coach them about 8 years ago, I decided to step back. And so my business now is very much I call it a lifestyle business. I'm not looking to have large teams in my business now. And in fact, most of my teams are remote, like like this video. The invitations went out for my VA in the Philippines, and she goes and finds people who fit my core customer. Founder, CEO, 8 to 50 staff, private company, learning leader, 35 to 65 years old. So she goes and finds the people that we interview on these podcasts based on a process I built. So she, in this respect, she's quite directed, I suppose, because we build a process. And anything in our business that has to be done twice, we'll build a process, and we'll build checklists, and we'll build SOPs. The video is edited by Vitali. He's one of my 2 team who are in the Ukraine. This is my bit to trying to give something back to the Ukraine. So my video editor is Vitali. The person that posts all of this to the podcast engines, the YouTube website, etc., is Alex. He's also in the Ukraine. But once again, they're very prescribed. That's a process that is followed. So there's an element of, I like to think about it as a concept. I can't remember where I got this from. It may have been down, I can't remember. But the concept of, it's all about the 80-20 rule. And it's all about, eventually if you do 80-20, 80-20, 80-20, when you delegate, you get down to about 96-4. So I do the 4% of the defining. I then find project managers to actually define the process or define the problem, or to come up with a solution to the problem. And then I had process managers like G and like Vitali and etc. to actually run the process, if that makes sense. And they're quite different skill sets. I got approached the other day, a couple months ago, to turn this podcast series into a book. And I'm sorry, I know we're off track.
No, let's go off track.
Yeah, and when I thought about that, it was like, why am I doing this? The reason I'm doing this is to share knowledge. The reason I'm doing this is to tap into a much broader knowledge base than I have personally. Talk about 80 entrepreneurs we've interviewed so far. Think about your experience base we're talking about, which is, you're running an Australian-based business, and I don't know when the last time you were in Australia was. And you put all this team together to do that, with you working remotely and essentially, leading this business by putting out a vision, I assume. And at times you deep dive in. So what the book, it's all about the who's. What I'm finding really interesting is now how AI is starting to come into my business, dramatically come into my business. I use AI multiple times a day. I use it with my clients live, face to face. I've got another coach who's teaching me to use AI. So, from the book's perspective, I've got Otter is about to start, my VA is about to get Otter to Otter.ai to transcribe all of these, transcribe all these videos. First thing we've got to do, of course, is we've got to write to all of the people who've been interviewed and say, hey, listen, we've asked to be turn this into a book. How do you feel about it? We will, of course, provide the transcript. The written word, the final word for your sign off, etc. So, that's a process that we have to do manually. Otter will transcribe all of these, all of the 30-minute videos. We've got another piece of AI that I'm just looking for around my out of control desk, and I can't see them. I gave it to my wife. I've got another piece of AI that automatically goes into these, because I want to start taking out snippets from these videos. So I've got another piece of AI that goes into the videos and will pull out snippets automatically. It's it's the most extraordinary thing we've ever seen. Put the URL in, and 3 minutes later it comes out with half a dozen video snippets with a description and yeah, on,
Yeah.
we're going to use ChatGPT to write something. The book will be, a bit like the Tim Ferriss book actually, Tools of Titans. Well, you look at the words of when you think of the word successful group, like with like, etc. But I'm going to have at the back of the book, some theory chapters of, well, if you want to scale your business and accelerate your business dramatically, well, one of the things you need is meeting rhythms, or meeting cadences. And so here's a chapter on cadences, and I think I've actually may have said that to you, with agendas and how do you do one-on-one coaching, and there'll be a theory piece at the back of the book. Yeah, all of those ideas will come out of my head, but AI is going to write a lot, and then I'll take it back and put the real life stories into it to actually make it live. If that makes sense. I know why. This is so. How do I brief people?
Well,
the book piece is going to be very much me coming up with this concept, but then delegating it to a mixture of people, live people and AI to make it happen. And I'll come back in to add the real life, the stories that make the stuff live.
Yeah, well, I think that's what really makes it people interested, or that's what really is going to connect with the people, is the stories, it's the human interaction, it's the real, people doing real things, making real impact. That's where people are going to relate to that. And I think it was one of Dan's older books, actually, before AI, where he's defined technology as teamwork. That's what increased teamwork is. That's what he said. That it was something along those lines. So technology that is so and then if you look at AI, that is basically increased teamwork, right? But you explained that AI is going to chop out your videos and create something, or that what you could have sent that to you guys in Ukraine. So that team.
And if you think about the cost of sending it to a guy in the Ukraine, sorry Vitaly, when you're listening to this, he does the editing, adds the intros and outros and all that sort of stuff for me. But if I ask him to do what I'm talking about doing, at $35 an hour, it becomes quite an expensive exercise. Where the AI is $20 a subscription, $20 US a month, and it does it in minutes. And so what I find interesting, I would be interested. I haven't talked to Vitaly about this, but it'd be interesting to talk to Vitaly about how he's going to adapt his business with AI, as an example, because it's such an accelerator to my business, and it's like having 3 or 4 extra staff. And when I train my VA and train my marketing VA, etc., on how to do the prompts, because it's all about getting the prompts right, it exponentially multiplies what we can do. And one of the things I was looking at earlier, I was writing an ebook using AI the other day, starting with all of my knowledge and etc. But one of the things I jagged on was a question. It's written the ebook. It's written the special report. I then asked it to go and imagine you're a human expert in this subject area. What changes would you make to the special report you've written?
Mm-hmm.
And it rewrote the special report. I then asked it, give me 6 examples from the financial services industry where this has happened. Add those into the ebook. I then said, taking everything that you've learned so far in these things, rewrite the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it came up with an absolutely totally different answer to what it had started with. It was fascinating, but it's all about working out how to ask the right questions. And how did that add value from a briefing perspective? Once again, I've now taken all those prompts, so I put them into an A memoir, and I now share that with my team.
Yeah.
Go and write a book.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's sort of where the key is. You mentioned for your editor in Ukraine, he's using a tool, right? So he's using a tool, so he can get better at using the tool, building that skill set of getting better, utilizing AI to edit the videos.
Or one tool, but if he starts adding additional tools in, the value he adds is extraordinary, and to his client, because the client might have thought about it.
Yeah.
And there's so much, and how much more he can charge. It increases his, and taking that a step further, think of someone who's successful. A number of people on this has said that Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk is a really interesting character, obviously successful. But one of the pieces he's successful with is this Starlink, the satellites he's got running all around the world. The reason the Ukraine is still, one of the key reasons the Ukraine, apart from the bravery of the people, is still doing so extraordinarily well is Elon Musk gave Starlink for free to the Ukraine. And he populated satellites to generate internet over Ukraine as one of his gifts. So an extraordinary thing to do.
Wow. Yeah, I never knew that. Was that like it? I'm sure it's a gift, but like I wonder where that came from. I'm in Israel at the moment, and one of the things that had fascinated me was, or kind of like opened my awareness, was a book called The Diamond Cutter by Michael Roach, who's basically he is an monk, and then his the leader of his monastery sent him to New York to go and dive into the business world, and he ended up working with a Jewish community in the diamond business, and they have this principle of 10%. So giving, or it goes up apparently. I learned over the last few days. So giving 10% of your profits to charity, or your money to a useful cause. I wonder if someone like Elon is thinking along those lines, or where that, because it's a pretty new company to give a big gift at the start.
I know it happened straight after. It happened straight after Russia invaded, so that was the prompt. But it's interesting, and you're in a part of the world. Like I worked as you know, in the Middle East for 11 years, and you're in the part of the world which is, when it comes to the Western religions, you're where it's at, where it all started. But if you look at, there's the Jewish faith giving, a percent of profit, percent of revenue, whatever it might be. The Muslim faith, in Ramadan, one of the things they do, one of the 5 pillars of Ramadan, is they give zakat. Is it zakat? I can't remember the term, but they give a percentage of what they earn to the poor. If you think of Christianity, Lent was all about what's the word I'm thinking about? I can't think of the word I'm thinking about. But stopping doing things to remind yourself how lucky you are. Which is Ramadan and Lent are really very, very similar in many ways. And all these principles come from these Western religions, come from exactly where you are right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I got a trip to Jerusalem this weekend. So,
well, listen, here's one for you there. I have a history of, I spent 18 years in the army, the Australian Army and Australian Army Reserve, and I served for 6 years in the successor of the Australian First Light Horse. And in the First World War, there are groups in Israel that believe that Israel exists because of the Australian Light Horse. In the First World War, the Light Horse regiments liberated Gaza. They liberated Jerusalem. They liberated Damascus. In Syria, they liberated Amman in the capital of Jordan. We're so far off the subject. I'm beating us back. How I write this into a book, I don't know. So you've just mentioned a book. Talk to me about business books, podcasts, business blogs, biographies that you would recommend.
So I couldn't go past the 4-hour work week. Like I said, that really unlocked a lot of freedom around thinking, and around systems, around frameworks, for greater freedom. I also enjoy Delivering Happiness by Tony Say, which is the culture book. So how to build the culture and the character of your organization.
He was Zappos.
Yeah, founder of Zappos. And The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. It's an old book. It's published about 100 years ago, and it's around successful living. So it was a woman living in the Great Depression in the 1920s, and she'd like to come up with a book like that. The Game of Life. It's a useful way to look at reality and life, and it's around successful living.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one. Thank you. Last question for you. Any last piece of advice or parting words to entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs out there?
I would say just start. Your first pancake, when you go and cook a pancake in the morning, it's going to be a little bit lumpy. But the next pancake is going to be better. The third pancake is going to be good. The fourth pancake, you're probably going to feel full and fat because you're eating a lot of pancakes in the morning, but it'll be the best tasting one. So just begin. That's what I would say. And I'm sure you could probably relate, starting out using AI or new tools within your business. You probably weren't sure about it, but you really got to just start and give it a crack.
Absolutely. Really good advice. Thank you so much, Jordan. Yeah,
it was awesome. Really fun. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah. Pick out something that Dan taught us about unique ability. Do what you love and do what you're really good at, and delegate everything else. This has become one of those things. One of my key unique abilities is something that these interviews are one of the things I love most about my business now.
Yeah, I really loved it. I really loved the swaying from the questions. It might not be as easy to AI generate, but it was fun.
We'll work it out. But it really is. The conversations are phenomenal. It's amazing where we get to in the conversations. As I said to you at the start, it's quite free flow.
Yeah, beautiful. Looking forward to the next ones.
Great. Thanks so much. Enjoy Israel. Look forward to hearing your learnings.
Thanks, Jonathan. Bye.
If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever you watch/listen. Please share this episode with others who may be interested in this topic. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, please send an email to admin@scaleupgrowth.co. Put "Be a guest" in the subject line and tell me a little about yourself. If you want to gauge where your business growth potential is and identify where the biggest opportunities in your business lie, or where the key needs that you need to concentrate on right now are, take our assessment where you will receive personalized advice for improvement. It's quick and free. Go to scaleupgrowth.scoreapp.com. If you would like to work with me one-to-one, I love coaching and get the best outcomes that way. Send me an email to jonathan@scaleupgrowth.co and put one-to-one in the heading. Tell me a bit about your business and let's see how we can apply a great strategy for your business. So that's it for this week. Tune in next time for more great learnings from a scaling entrepreneur.